I've been watching you the whole LinkedIn telethon. So
have you been on it?
Bravo to you for all of that coordination.
It's been fun. It's been a great day. And we've had so many great speakers so far and a variety of different topics. And we've been talking, I mean, the whole day, as you know, is focusing on, giving tips and techniques for people who are in career transition right now, or who may be working but looking, or maybe thinking about a shift in another area. And one of that might be shifting into entrepreneurship, Clarene. So when I reached out to you, I think we were connected, and I was asking someone for other people that I should connect with, and I'm blanking on the person's name right now. Who was it? It was Keisha Kent. Yes. So I don't know if Keisha's watching. I'm gonna tag her in chat right now.
I hope she is.
I hope she is, and she is a huge ambassador of women and supporting people, and just this inspiration. She's just amazing. So, so Clarene, you and I became connected, and I discovered, gosh, Clarene, you do some similar things in LinkedIn. So why don't you, if you could, take a few moments, tell people a little bit about who you are and what your business is about, and then we'll get into the discussion today.
All righty. Thank you so much for having me, Brenda. This has, again, been a phenomenal event. So clever. So good for you. But I'm Clarene Mitchell. I'm in the greater Milwaukee, Wisconsin area, and I'm the owner of TCM Communications. I go by the moniker of the LinkedIn Results Igniter because I work with my clients to ignite results for them. So my process with working with clients is not just showing them the mechanics of the platform, but it's with the overall goal of them being able to generate results from the platform on an ongoing basis, because that's what LinkedIn is for. So I work specifically with clients, mostly entrepreneurs, but others as well. But I have a sweet spot for entrepreneurs because as an entrepreneur myself, and just the reality that for entrepreneurs to stay in business, they have to generate leads, right? On a constant basis. And LinkedIn is a wonderful platform to be able to do that. So that's who I am. That's my business. And I was zone in on just LinkedIn as a specialty, as opposed to other platforms and other things. So my background is in public relations and print journalism. And my degree is in communications. So I bring all of that to the table when I work with my clients to help them tell their stories on the platform.
Great. And I know you have so much broad experience across LinkedIn in general. And I said, well, I want to pick a topic that we can kind of really hone in on, because there's different people watching today. Mm-hmm. There's people that are unemployed and actively in career transition, and they want a corporate job. That's their goal. They need to get back in it for benefits, for personal. I mean, some people just want to be in that. And other people, they may have outgrown their corporate job, or they might be really feeling like they're stalling in their job search, and they're not finding things, and they're not feeling the love for going back into corporate. So they might go, gosh, maybe I want to leave and go to my corporate job. And there may be another category, which is the working but looking. They're working for an organization, a corporation, and they're starting to think about making that pivot into entrepreneurship.
Right.
I just want to give the floor to you now, and then I'll come back in at the end. We'll do some Q&A. So I just want to give the floor to you. What tips do you have for people that are using LinkedIn to shift into entrepreneurship?
I have a lot of tips. So if you will allow me, I'm going to share my screen. I'm using a presentation, just like one of the previous presenters. People are visual. At least I'm a visual learner, and I'm able to keep you or even myself on track, because I love to talk. And so if I have the presentation, then I have to stick to it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And I'm going to navigate myself back in until we get your presentation up on screen. So as soon as you click on share, there we go.
And are we good?
You're good to go. Awesome. Go right ahead.
All right. So let's get into this, using LinkedIn to shift into entrepreneurship. And I want to start off, and it was just really great, brilliant timing or planning by Brenda, more than she probably thinks, for the lineup and how she scheduled all the presenters, especially the one right before me. So looking at this, lemons, right? You're probably trying to figure out, what does this have to do with shifting from corporate or working to entrepreneurship? This is a representation of my story. So in 2016, at the end of 2016, I had an unexpected job loss. that pretty much, as the previous speaker was talking about, that rocked my world. It didn't hit me hard at first, but soon after, it truly did. And going almost a year without employment, after having a good, solid career of working and making a difference and never having to worry about having a job, because I always was able to find a job quickly, even when I wasn't looking, or others coming to me and recruiting me. So losing a job and not being able to find one for almost a year, I had to turn my lemons into lemonade by creating a job for myself. And that's how I got into entrepreneurship. And that was me being 50 plus at that time. And creating a job for myself with my business. And so a lot of what I'm sharing today is rooted based upon my own experiences with the platform. But also, I'm going to share a case study with one of my clients for you. But you are at a really great opportunity or point in your life now. If you're working, you have a solid, secure as it can be. You know, nothing really seems to be totally secure these days. But if you're working now, you're in a great position versus where I was back in 2016 with no job and no opportunities, right? And starting my business with no finances, no support, no any of that, right? If you're working now, you're able to plot out your process. And I want to share some things that you can do. As you plot out your process, you can have that smooth transition. And let me get into, so again, I'm going to skip through this because I already talked about it with Brenda, but I push success-driven entrepreneurs and executives to zone into their brands. So who they are, what their area of expertise is, so that they're able to generate results from LinkedIn. And I do that by one-on-one coaching or via one-on-one coaching, all virtual now, of course, group trainings. I do event speaking, and I'm the author of a LinkedIn book. And my whole approach is helping people to shine online. For you to get results, you have to shine online so that you radiate out who you are, and that pulls people to you, your ideal clients. Before I get too far in this, I want to also just do a mention of a recent recognition I received from LinkedIn, being a top pick when it comes to LinkedIn newsletters. And FYI, if you don't know, yes, you can have newsletters on LinkedIn. But I want to bring note to this as well, because this week, I publish a newsletter every other week. So this week, I published an addition to the newsletter. It's called the Shine Online Bulletin. And it's all about how entrepreneurs can benefit from LinkedIn. So make sure you go to my profile, go to the activities section, then go to the articles tab. You will see that article there. I break down the word entrepreneur and give you tips based on each of those letters. So check it out later. Not now, but later. So why LinkedIn for entrepreneurs? LinkedIn is the largest social media platform when it comes to professional and business purposes. There's all the other platforms out there, but LinkedIn was created specifically, and believe it or not, it's been around longer than Facebook, but LinkedIn specifically was created for professional and business purposes, not just professional purposes, but business purposes also. Consistently growing, especially during this pandemic. It has grown in leaps and bounds because more people are online, right? And unfortunately, more people are losing jobs, so they're going to LinkedIn more. But over 700 plus million users and constantly growing. And again, LinkedIn is not for just job seekers. This week has been an eye-opening experience for me on this point, because I've done some other presentations this week specifically for entrepreneurs. I had a day full of sales calls yesterday with entrepreneurs, and so many people, entrepreneurs specifically, still believe LinkedIn is not the place for them, because LinkedIn perhaps started out for just job seekers, right? But it has evolved. And for me as an entrepreneur, LinkedIn is my office. Before the pandemic, during the pandemic, after the pandemic, it's my virtual office, is where I get my leads, right? And so it is the ideal platform for entrepreneurs in addition to job seekers and recruiters. And I'm going to keep going because I have a lot to share with you. Believe it or not, as you see from this graphic and from a reputable source, HubSpot, when it comes to lead generation, LinkedIn outdoes Twitter and Facebook, believe it or not. So again, because it is the platform for professional business purposes, your return on your investment of time on the platform is going to come back to you at a higher level, especially even on just organic returns without even spending money on ads. That can happen. And so I want to get into a case study to really show you how it can work. And so one of my superstar clients, her name is Rosalind Price, and she knows I'm spotlighting her today. So if you go through this with me and you see how phenomenal she is on the platform and you reach out to her to send her a connection invite, just mention in the personalized note that you were part of this event so that she has a reference point back to this presentation. But let me take you through Rosalind's journey of going from being, well, she's still going through that journey, but her developing her entrepreneurial brand on LinkedIn. She's a corporate executive. Still corporate executive, but growing her business alongside that so that when she gets ready to transition full time, she won't be starting from scratch. All right, number one tip. And so I'm going to share 5 tips with you through this process. The number one, she hired a LinkedIn coach. And this is not self-serving to me because there's other LinkedIn coaches or others who specialize in providing guidance. But just as we get coaches for other areas where there's career coach overall or sports coaches or other coaches. Same thing is true with LinkedIn. As this quote is, this African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. So get a coach, because a coach can give you insights about the platform that you may not be familiar with. Instead of you going step by step, little by little, step by step, or stumbling through the process, when you align yourself with a coach, you're able to expedite that process and get greater ground quicker. But that coach can tell you how to go, what to do, when, and all of that process. And so the whole thing, maybe the concept, and even why I wanted to share this as the top, the whole ideal of a LinkedIn coach, people are like, why would I need a LinkedIn coach? Again, with LinkedIn, the platform, many people feel like because of social media, you don't need a coach to do that. Anyone can get on, but there's strategies with the platform that you have to use to be effective on the platform. And without getting a coach, you may not be able to do that on your own. So the necessity of getting a coach. So that was number one that Rosalind did. She became a client of mine, and I was able to give her a boost right off from the coaching so that then she was able to implement key changes. And I'm going to walk you through those and be able to start getting results from the platform. Step 2 was determined to improve her SSI. And you're probably like, SSI, what is that? So on LinkedIn, believe it or not, and this is accessible to everyone, it's kind of like a well-kept secret somewhat. It's called a social selling index. So SSI for short is embedded within everyone's LinkedIn profile, but it's an assessment that you can go through that gives you your custom ratings, so to speak, on how effectively you're using the platform. And so when I introduced Rosalind to this, she made it her priority. Literally, she made it her priority. And I'm just showing you this screenshot of her score. She made it her priority that she wanted to improve her numbers, because the way LinkedIn is set up, automatically, the way the platform is created, as you improve your SSI score and the strategies that you use on a consistent basis, you're going to get results. You're going to see immediate and long-term results as you continue with that. So she became zero focused in on improving her SSI. And it made a world of a difference. She would keep updating me, sending me messages, letting me know where her score is. She's like, Coach Clarene, I'm at this now. This is where I'm at. And I was just loving it because she was taking it seriously. So industry rank. So in May, I started working with Rosalind. She started working with me. Industry rank, at that point was 37. As of last November, and I'm sure now her numbers are totally different than this, more improved. But as of November, she went from 37 to 3%. And I have a target goal for all of my clients to be 5% or lower when it comes to the industry rank and the network rank. So she went from 37 to 3. For her network, she went from 74. Listen, 74 to 17. And for her index, her overall score, she went from 21 to 68. And so your index and your network rank, those need to be low because you want to be in that elite class, meaning you're effectively using the platform. And then your overall score, you want that to be as close to 100 as possible, so high. And I'm sure I should get a more updated one from her. I'm sure her numbers have far exceeded, even now. But she became obsessed with this, zeroed in on this, targeted on this, and it made a difference for her. Tip 3, she put in the work. Like literally, it's one thing to get a coach, or it's one thing to say, oh, I need to get better on LinkedIn. I need to do some things. And then you start and then you stop. You don't get results that way. You have to put in the work initially and ongoing. And that's what Rosalind did. And some of that included her optimizing her profile. And I'm going to show you some examples momentarily, but she optimized her profile. It's important that from the top to the bottom, all of the key sections are completed. She did that. She created and continues to do so, but consistent content that would resonate with her target client population. So it has to be all your content, or the vast majority of your content should be on brand for what your business is about. And thankfully, so Rosalind is a change management professional expert. And that's what her business is about. That's what she does within her corporate job. And that's what her business is about. And so to have posts that were related to change management, no brainer, because that's what she does professionally and for her business. But being able to do that consistently, even when she would make posts or does make posts about the corporation she works for, it still aligns to her expertise for what she does with her business. Also expanded her network. You saw and I didn't highlight this part within her, well, I'll get to it shortly. Expanding her network and making sure it was quality over quantity is the goal. It's great to have huge numbers, but if there's not substance with those numbers, it's just numbers, right? And so she's methodically expanded her network with the ideal people in her network, and then building or continuously building from that. But quality over quantity versus just the numbers game, right? Then authentically engaging with others to build her community. And I'm big on building community, building not just a network in reference to numbers, but kind of your community, your raving fans, so to speak, or your online fans, or those that you build those relationships with that could potentially become clients of yours or refer others to you. And that's what she went about doing. And I'm talking fast because I got a lot to share, and I want to make sure I have time for Q&A. So I want to take you through just some pre and post, the journey, and I wanted these to be on the same slide so you can really see. So when Rosalind had her first coaching session with me in May, to the left, you see what her profile looked like. Beautiful woman, beautiful, dynamic, professional, but that wasn't conveying her expertise. What we see on the left, the photo wasn't allowing her to shine either. So, and then key sections weren't optimized or customized. The section below her name, the headline section, it was generic, right? You see, she had 93 connections. The slide in the middle, the screenshot in the middle, you see she has a custom banner image, the photo, beautiful photo where you can see her clearer. Headline section under her name, we customized that, and you see she got up to 500 plus connections. And then more recent on the right, because she just took some new professional photos, the updated image there. And literally, if you contact her, she'll tell you she's been getting work solely based upon, or initially based upon, people get pulled into her, the personality that comes across via her photo. Other key sections in your profile, and I'm going quick through this, but key from top to bottom: introduction, about, featured, activity, experience, education, license, certificates, volunteering, recommendations. And I wear through that fast to get you the impression. Yes, there's a lot to do. There's work you have to put into the process, but it pays off. Tip 4, she secured recommendations all day long, so to speak, from top to the bottom of our profile. We talk about how brilliant we are, what we do, our areas of expertise. But once we're able to get to the point of having recommendations on our profiles where others can speak to their experiences in working with us, whether they're working with you now as a colleague, right? As, you know, peer-to-peer or supervisors, whatever the case may be. But if they can speak to your expertise as it aligns to what you will be doing or doing with your business, you have to build that track record now and on an ongoing basis. So Rosalind being able to get started with that. When we first started, she had none, and now she's continuing to build that. So looking and seeing and making sure that you're having, and it's already been talked about in an event today, there's a process with going and getting recommendations on LinkedIn where you go through the steps that LinkedIn provides you, and LinkedIn puts the recommendation on your profile, not you, right? And so there's credibility that automatically comes with that. And I say, even for entrepreneurs, you can use the recommendations for other purposes. They're there on your profile. They become public record, so to speak. But then as you're building your website, you can take those recommendations and put them on your website. Why, you know, make more work for yourself and bothering or imposing on others to give you a recommendation again, or some new people? If you already have them on your profile, you can put them on your website as you develop your new business website. You can use them for other purposes as well. And let me hurry because I hear Brenda, so that means my timing is coming. So tip 5, and this is the last one, she created her LinkedIn company page. You have to do this. You have to create a LinkedIn company page. It's additional marketing that you can provide specifically on LinkedIn that you may not can do on your personal profile, but it's okay and expected on your business. And the key part with this, or your company page, key part is once you create your company page, and then you link it to your experience section on your personal profile, then it allows your status as a business owner, entrepreneur, to be more legitimate, because your logo then goes right there to the left of that listing versus the default image that LinkedIn puts. And you're able to get more data or analytics and information about your demographics. This is the screenshot from my company page, but data about who's visiting your company page. It can help you craft your marketing and your content, and it gives you other key data as well. Rosalind's wins. She's been invited to be a guest on podcasts, and this happened early on. She's been invited to be a guest speaker for a national HR organization. She's been invited to be on board. She's gained 4 new clients. All of that. Clients meaning money. I've had clients who has another superstar client who has gotten a $30,000 corporate contract from her activity on LinkedIn. So a quality profile on LinkedIn can leverage you with never-ending dividends. Okay, so I'm done, Brenda. Let me get through with this. Last slide. Just be your biggest fan. That's my biggest thing. You can't be, unsure of yourself. You have to be confident in who you are and bold so that others can have confidence that you can provide them the services that you are in business with. And let me stop the share so I can go back with you.
Awesome. That was great. You flew that pretty quickly, but there were so many great nuggets of information. And I did see a couple questions from people coming in saying, are you sharing a copy of your slides? And up to you if you'd like to or not, or people have reached out to you if they want to get a copy. What are your thoughts there?
I don't share my slides, but if people have questions, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a question. So send me a message and I'll be happy to expound on anything from my slides. So as a point, a learning point, since this is all about entrepreneurs, right? Or
Yes.
making that transition. That's just a policy for me as an entrepreneur, protecting my property and my information. So I don't share them generally, but if you have questions, just follow up with me.
No, I appreciate it. And I totally respect that you're sharing that, because when you are an entrepreneur, you're going to start, when you first get started, you get people, oh gosh, Clarene, you really seem to have a knack for this LinkedIn stuff. Can we do a virtual coffee? Can I just pick your brain? Which is code for I don't want to pay for you.
But I'm trying to do a $, like, okay, like, no, this, like, there's a price tag to this. So,
Well, and it's important, because when you move from being in a situation where you're getting a paycheck all the time and you want to be kind to people and helpful to people, and the paycheck's coming in regardless, and then you work for yourself, and now you're getting people reach out to you saying, hey, I have a question for you. Can I pick your brain? Can we do a virtual coffee? I have some LinkedIn questions. And you want to be kind to them, because you're thinking, like, this is good PR value for me. But when you do work that's not getting paid, you don't get paid because you're not getting a paycheck. So you have to.
That means the bills don't get paid on my end. That means, the refrigerator, whatever the case may be, right? There's a difference when it's a side hustle, right? But when it's your full time, and I'm a solo entrepreneur, so this is my full-time endeavor, there's a difference with that.
This is your livelihood. And I want to bring in Tisha Hammond's going to be our next up. So Tisha, how are you today?
I'm blessed. Good to see you, ladies.
Good to see you. We're going to finish up with a couple of questions here, Tisha, and then we'll move into your conversation next, if that's okay.
That's
great. So let's see. I have a couple more questions. There were some questions about the SSI, the Social Selling Index. And Carol was asking, is there a way to get your SSI without paying for Sales Navigator?
Oh, most definitely. So again, that's a hidden resource in LinkedIn that most people don't even know about. And let me see if I can go off of memory. So
I just do a Google search, and somebody else, it looks like Sally did it as well. It's kind of hard to get into it from LinkedIn though, isn't it?
It's not. If you're on your computer or, on the laptop, you go to the work tab to the right of your me. Okay. You go down to Sales Solutions. Then you go to the Resources tab, hover down, and then I should have shared my screen. I could go. So the work button to the right of your me, you go down to Sales Solutions, then you go down to, oh, good. I'll slow up.
Yeah, let me just navigate, because when I open another page, the StreamYard doesn't take us there. So let me just click on the page that it's taking us to, which is this one right here. Make sure the StreamYard. Okay.
Then you go to the Resources tab.
Resources. Okay.
Go down to Social Selling. Hover on it, don't click, hover, and then go to Social Selling Index.
There we go.
And then get your score free.
Okay, very good.
And so if anyone would like, good job, Brenda.
Well, I got her right. It's what I do for a living. I should be okay.
Right, that's what I say. It's always risky doing it in front of other people.
It is. Like, I hope it's okay this week.
But if people would like, because seeing it is one thing, understanding it is another. So if anyone would like, I do offer free 30-minute consultations. So if you go into my LinkedIn profile, go into the features section, you'll see my scheduling link where you can schedule to have a 30-minute complimentary session. And I can explain this whole assessment to you.
Okay, great. So that's I know we're talking about, some free resources that all the presenters are offering for folks today. So I'm going to put your profile up on screen right now while you're talking about that. And I'm also going to pull up your LinkedIn URL for folks that want to visit you. So where do we go to find that link again? Tell us again.
Go down to my featured section, please.
Okay.
And so it's probably, the arrow over
right here.
Right here.
There you go. Schedule your 30-minute LinkedIn assessment appointment. Is that one right there?
Yes, it is.
All right, perfect. Thank you. And are you open to accepting new connections from folks, Clarene, that are watching us here today?
I am, and as a tip, and I think one of the other presenters said it as well, you should send a personalized note. So always send a personalized note. Let me know that you were a part of this event so that I know that. To accept, you just hit the more button. Or to send a connection invite, hit the more button, and then you'll get the drop down to get to the connect. Otherwise, it just says, it just has the follow button. So hit the more button, get to the connect, send me a personalized note. More than happy to accept.
Great. Thank you, Clarene. And this half hour has flown by. I feel like we could talk probably another hour here.
I'm sorry.
No,
I told you that's why I had to have slides, because otherwise I'll just be talking forever, for real.
No, it was great and so much great information. And I think you've been hanging out already in the chat, and I think you're probably going to return there. So if anyone's watching and I didn't get to ask your question for Clarene, make sure you stay online because she'll be going through chat, and I'll also include her in that follow-up email. So if you haven't already subscribed to that, I'll just put it up on screen for you guys here again today. I am going to be breaking up all of this. This is going to be a 6-hour long live stream, but I'll be cracking it into smaller videos, and then I'll be sharing it with everyone. So if you go to the website, mellermarketing.com, and then LIL subscribe, Lil subscribe, it stands for LinkedIn Live subscribe is what that is. If you go there, you have to opt in, and then I'll be sending everyone an email. I'll include Clarene's information in there. I'll include the offer that she talked about, the link where you can connect with her. So definitely check that out.